Welcome to Lake Champlain Chocolates. Thank you guys so much for taking this gorgeous day and spending it with me. I really appreciate it. My name is Emily McCraken, and I've been working at Lake Champlain Chocolates for almost 12 years. I make all of the chocolate sculptures for our company here. I actually have 2 degrees in art. I have a BFA in illustration and 1 in graphic design. So I have a little bit of an art background. Lake Champlain Chocolates realized that I was able to work in clay. So they said, hey, clay, chocolate, pretty close. So they let me play with some chocolate, and I passed with flying colors. They felt that it was worth it to send me to school to actually tweak my chocolate making skills. So I've been to many different chocolate courses at the Barry Callebaut Chocolate Academy in Canada. And I've also been to the Nodder School of Pastry Arts in Florida, learning how to make chocolate sculptures. So never thought I'd be using my art degree for this. It's pretty awesome. I'm pretty sure I'm the only person from school who's making chocolate art for a living. So it's really awesome. So this is Ashley. Ashley works next door at South End Kitchen, our awesome restaurant. She is our education center coordinator. So she helps to develop our calendars of classes. So if you enjoy your demo here today, if you ever want to get hands-on, she and myself, I'll be teaching all the chocolate classes. So you can get nice and messy and make chocolate with me. So you can check our calendar at southendkitchenvt.com and come play with chocolate with me and Ashley as well. So what we're going to do here today is it's all about the bunny, except now that I say that, my sculpture has no bunnies in it. But it is Easter related. It's going to be lots of eggs and a chicken, because chicken and eggs kind of go together. In this case, eggs come before chickens. So we will get started here. So I have an egg mold here. This is just a mold that we get from Barry Callebaut. This is the company that we purchase our chocolate from. And they just have an assortment of molds here. So I want my eggs to have a little decoration. I don't want them to just be plain chocolate eggs. So whenever you decorate a mold, you actually want to decorate it first instead of doing it afterwards. And what's cool about decorating your mold first is that the decoration is going to appear flat on the outside of the mold. So it's not going to be raised. It's going to be blended in nicely with the eggs. This never gets old. Oops, the fact that I have as much chocolate as I need. So fold up my piping bag. Whenever you fill your piping bags, you want to try really hard to not overfill them. If you overfill them and you roll your top over, the chocolate's just going to ooze out the side, all over your hands, and then all over your mold. So your design won't look so nice. You'll cut the tip off the end of your piping bag. Always do it away from your chocolate, and doing it over a trash can is probably the best idea. So I always grab a piece of parchment paper here and just test my line. The bigger the hole you cut, the thicker the line that's going to come out. It's also going to come out a lot faster. If you do a really thin or a small hole, it gives you a nice thin line, and it's going to come out a little bit slower. So I'm going to take my mold and just drizzle chocolate right on the inside. There we go. So remember if you're going to layer, because I'm going to do some white chocolate on here too. So your white chocolate's actually going to appear behind the dark chocolate. So depending on how you want to layer your colors, you always want to put what you want to be seen most in the front. So I'll fill my white chocolate bag here. Okay, so now I'm just going to go back over. And we're going to crisscross in the back here. So now I've got my dark chocolate going one way and the white chocolate going the other way. So now that you have your decoration, you want to let the chocolate set up. But not all the way. If your design's set up all the way, they're going to start to peel up off of your mold, and when you pour the milk chocolate on top, that chocolate's going to slide under your decoration, and you're not going to be able to see that. So if you would like to get me a picture with milk chocolate, probably pretty close to full. Okay. You can leave these here and just grab me the milk one. That'll be awesome. So we're going to let that set for just a second. We're going to fill that up with chocolate. We're going to do a process called shell molding. So shell molding, you're trying to create a hollow vessel. I don't want them to be solid because we're going to stack these eggs up to create the sculptures, so we don't want too much weight on them. We want them to be kind of on the lighter side. So we're going to fill this up with chocolate, and then we're going to let it sit for just a little bit so it develops a little bit of an edge. And then we're going to dump out all the extra chocolate, which is really cool to watch. I'm excited to do that part. Oh, thank you. But that's part of the fun, is making a super giant mess. Okay. So you're going to fill up your molds. You want to try really hard to not overfill it, but it's also good to not completely underfill it either, because you want to be able to form a nice edge. There we go. So then I'm going to take my mold and tap it on the table. So what that is doing is smoothing out the chocolate, getting it to settle in the design that we did. We're going to make a huge mess right here. But again, that's the fun part. So I have a couple scraping options. Go to Lowe's. These scrapers are excellent for chocolate making. So we've never tiled a bathroom with this or anything. It's strictly, I use it for chocolate. You can also use offset spatulas. They usually just sell these at kitchen stores. So either one of these you can use. You can also use a bench scraper. These are just used for pastry. So any sort of scraper is fine. I am going to actually use this one. So I'm going to come over here and just do this on the tray. Okay. So what I'm trying to do, ooh, that's actually pretty clean. So now that I've got these even, we're going to put them into the cold room for just a little bit. So if you can try to keep that flat, that would be wonderful. I know that's really hard. So those eggs are going to go into the cold room and set up, and I'll show you in just a little bit what that's going to look like. So in the meantime, while that's setting up, we are going to create some flowers for our sculpture. So we need to make some petals. So I cut some pieces of parchment paper. Parchment paper you can actually just buy in the grocery store. It comes in a roll. The rolls are kind of a pain because it's a little curly, so before you decide you're going to make anything, you might want to flatten them out with some books so you have a nice flat sheet of paper. And I'm going to do my petals in white chocolate. So you can use any kind of knife. The knife that you use will determine the shape of the petals that you make. So you could do a butter knife if you want more of a rounded petal on the end. I like to use my pointy knife so I have nice pointy edges on my petals. So you can use any sort of knife is fine to do this. Can you see it? Do I have chocolate on my arm? I do. So I'm going to take my knife, and I've got like a little bit of chocolate on here. Can you bring this over to the edge? Okay, cool. So I'm going to lay my knife down, lift up, So these I'm going to use for petals, and I'm also going to use them as feathers. Once you have made your petals, you can then place them. These are called flower formers. They use these in cake decorating. You can get these in like a cake decorating section. And this is going to make your petals curvy. So they have a nice little curve to them to give them a little bit of shape. So we'll let those set up right there. And I have a bunch of petals that I've already made. So I'll grab those. So once they've completely set up, they just come right off. And they're curvy. Okay. So to start making the flower, you have to pipe a center for them. Some more chocolate. So you're going to want to take your piping bag and you're going to squirt about a quarter-sized dollop of white chocolate down. So I'm going to take my petals and start sticking them in the chocolate. This is like a little harder than I want, but that's okay. So that's my first layer, and then I'm going to squirt some more chocolate on here. I need to breathe more when I work, though. That's the one thing I'm really finding. I'm like, don't mess up. Well, plus too, it's so fragile, so you really have to be careful. Ooh, I don't like that petal. That one's a little too thick. That's what I want. When you make these, you can do many, many layers upon layers. So if you wanted to do this, you could do a bigger dollop of chocolate, and you can lay the petals flatter, and then as they come up, you could do like maybe 5 layers of petals to create almost like a ball if you want to. Another cool way to make petals is actually taking a balloon. If you want to make tulips, blow up a little balloon and dip it in your chocolate, and then you don't have to pop the balloon. You can actually just, it'll set up and you can peel the chocolate off, and you've got like big nice petals for tulips. So you could do that if you wanted to as well. So I need a couple flowers, so I'm going to do one more. Squirt that out right there. And then I'll reveal my eggs. So one thing I have this awesome magic freeze spray. This is something I ordered from a company called Chef Rubber. I don't know why it's called Chef Rubber. That's kind of strange, actually. Really weird name. But this is actually a food-safe freezing spray. So sometimes you'll be making flowers and the petals are going to fall down. They're not going to sit up in the chocolate properly. So you can kind of freeze them in place using this freezing spray. And that'll help you to keep your petals standing upright if you need to. And I'll be using it on the sculpture in just a little bit. It has a little wow factor. It's kind of cool. I like to use it whenever possible. If you're in a pinch and you're going to make something that you don't eat, like I often, if I'm making a sculpture that's just for display and I know is not going to be eaten, and I'll reemphasize not to be eaten, you can use a computer can. You know the air spray cans for computers? If you turn it upside down, it does the same thing. It will freeze chocolate in place. But if you use that, you can't eat the chocolate afterwards. All right, so now I've got a couple flowers here. We'll let those dry. Ooh, do we have an edge? Perfect. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to come around and kind of show you. So see how it's getting like an edge? Yeah. Okay, so here comes the fun part. I'm going to take this. So I'm going to scrape this. I really, really, really want to make sure that my edges are clean. So now you have a hollow vessel. So if you could put those back in the cold room, that would be lovely.
Just leave them
Yeah.
there.
Because I have some already made. Like all good cooking shows, you've got some made, and especially in case for some weird reason something doesn't work, it's always good to know you've got the backup plan. I'm going to show you my awesome pre-made eggs. At the end, I'll have Ashley go get the other ones and pop them out just to prove to you that, you know, they worked. All right. So, you can see they're nice and shiny, and you've got your decoration nice and flat. And they're nice and hollow. So, I mean, you don't have to make a sculpture. You could make hollow vessels and use them for all kinds of things. You could, one thing we've done in the past is you could put jelly beans in there and glue them together and find a little surprise inside of the eggs. You could pipe a ganache into there if you wanted to, which is heavy cream and chocolate. It's almost like a stiff mousse. You could put ice cream in there. I mean, ultimate ice cream bowl right there. So you could do anything you wanted with these. You don't have to just use them to make a sculpture. You could use them as an eating vessel. So I want to glue them together. Let me give you the milk chocolate.
Okay.
I think I got enough. Okay. So now we're going to glue the eggs together. The key to doing this is you want to make sure not to, you don't want to over chocolate your edges. When you put the two sides together, if you have this humongous amount of chocolate, it's just going to ooze out the side and make a giant mess. So I'm going to put my egg just on a piece of cloth so it doesn't scratch. And then I'm going to pipe my chocolate right around the edge. And let's put this on. Cool. And the best thing to do is to just not touch it. So we're going to put him over here and leave him alone. Now I'll show you some of my monster eggs that I have here. And we'll start to put everything in place. If you need a really big egg, this is like monster egg here. So this is like the mother of all eggs right here. This is like a double yolker. So I've got my monster egg. Is it gonna roll? You know what? I'm just gonna stick it right there. So that's my big egg. And then we've got a little white chocolate egg with some decorations as well. Put that right there. All right. So we're going to start to stack. Do I have the dark chocolate? No, you have the dark chocolate. Is there any left in there?
Oh, yeah.
Sweet. So it's nice, you don't have to put chocolate sculptures on a plate. I'm putting it on a plate because this will be going down to the Church Street store, and to move sculptures in and out of the window, it's a lot easier to do it when you have a plate. I can't tell you how many times Church Street stores called me and they're like, Emily, we have a problem, and the sculpture's broken. But that's okay. It's weird how you kind of get used to it after a while. The first few sculptures, you're completely devastated. And then after that, it just becomes part of life. So I'm going to put my egg on here with a little bit of chocolate. Don't fail me now, egg.
Spray assistant.
Okay. All right. I'm just going to put this right here for a second because I got to let that dry. Okay. So while that's drying, we're going to make a chicken because eggs and chickens go together. So I made a sphere earlier. This is a hollow sphere. So that would be kind of cool. You could put some like little eggs inside the chicken, crack it open. That'd be really fun, actually. I really wish I did that. Sometimes you just think of ideas on the fly, but that would have been really cool. So this is going to be my chicken body and head. He's going to be very rotund, and that's fine. And then I have some delicious Jordan almonds that we're going to use for his comb or her comb. Is it a comb on a female chicken? I think it's a comb. And then we're also going to use it for the beak as well. So I'm keeping it in this mold here just because it's just easier to work with, so it's not rolling all over the table while I'm trying to work with it. Ooh, my white's getting a little thick. That's actually not a bad thing. Okay. It's a little thick. I might need a little freshening here. If you can scrape out some of that and then put some fresh in, that would be awesome. But I will say, when you're doing sculpting, sometimes the thicker chocolate is really nice to have because it can actually hold things in place better than when it's super liquid. So we're going to give this chicken a little bit of a mohawk here. I'm going to pipe a little circle of white here. Okay. And with the freezing spray, like a little dab will do ya. You don't want to be like all over it, because that actually is not going to be good. Okay. So now I'm going to put his beak on. I've got yellow ones, got orange. I don't know, do you think yellow or orange for the beak? Do some orange? Okay. We'll do this. I'm going to just put a little dab. So there's this little beak. And then I made some eyes. This is just piped chocolate. So. All of a sudden, he develops a little personality with the chocolate. Okay. Are they even? It's hard to do it upside down. All right. So now we have little chicken face. We need to make him some feet to stand on because it's very hard to stand without feet. I need some fresh milk chocolate. That would be so wonderful. Ooh, my egg is set up. Wonderful. These are our petals that we made earlier, so you can see they just come right off. So we're going to use some of these petals to make his wings and his tail, because every little bird needs a tail. We'll use these because they're a little fatter. This is going to be a little fragile, but totally worth it. I like to do everything in odd numbers, so, although I can't give him 3 eyes. I mean, I guess I could, but that would be a little strange. So he gets 2 eyes, but we'll do 5 feathers for his tail, and I did 3 for his little comb. I don't know, in art school they said that odd numbers makes a more pleasing composition. That was the word I was looking for. I'll turn this guy around in just a second so you can see his little tail, because it's really cute. Okay, so little tail feathers. So now I just have to give him his wings, and I'm just going to have to turn him to the side for a second while I do that. Boy, he's a lot cuter than my first one, because I have a sculpture I already made, so I'll bring that up afterwards. So now he's got his little wings and his little little round chicken. Okay. I had to give you a little drama. Little drama is always good. All right. So while he's setting, we'll make some feet for him. So I'm going to move the chicken up front so you can gaze into his eyes. I'll make feet for him. So I'll grab another sheet of paper. So I just pipe out a foot shape. If you want to pre-draw something ahead of time so you have a guide to go by, you can do that. I just like to freestyle, so I'm just going to play it by ear and make some feet. There we go. So I'm going to do his feet in milk chocolate, just for a little bit of contrast. Am I still clean? Still clean.
Get some orange chocolate, but the jacket's good.
That's fine, at least that will go away. So I'm gonna pipe some little feet. And then this is called piping and flooding. So I pipe an area, like a little a barrier, so when I push the chocolate all through it, it kind of keeps it locked inside. So we're going to flood this. So I just squeeze the piping bag a little harder and just fill that area with the milk chocolate. So sometimes when you're flooding an area, you can kind of see the lines of where the chocolate is kind of pooled. If you want to get rid of that, just shake it a little bit, and then it smooths it out so you don't have all of the flooding lines. All right, so we're going to put his feet aside. All right, so now my egg is dry over here, so I can go ahead and start stacking my next egg. Scary. So, let me just scrape this real quick. This is my chocolate knife. I don't use it for anything but chocolate because I like keeping it nice and sharp. And it's my favorite. I don't know, it's good for everything. So what I want to do before I put my next egg on top is I want to kind of flatten a little part on the top for the egg to sit on, and then also score it a little bit, just so that next egg has a little something to hold on to. This is a specific brush for chocolate. It's made of badger hair. This is an $80 brush. Don't want to lose that one if you ever purchase one. I guard that with my life because I'm pretty sure Lake Champlain Chocolates would not be pleased if I lost that brush. Okay. All right, and then I'm just gonna score it a little bit. Have any of you guys ever worked with clay before? It's kind of like scoring and slipping. If you've ever worked with clay, it's kind of the same idea. So I'm gonna just score this a little bit here. And we're gonna put our white egg on next. Okay. And decide which one you think is your good side. I think that's my good side. So that means this is my bottom. Okay. Okay. So I need a little dark chocolate. Is it still good?
I don't know. You tell me.
Actually, it's really thick, but it's good for what we're doing.
Almost dry.
It's okay. So the good thing about chocolate is when I get it all stuck in the pitchers, you can actually just melt it back down and reuse it, so there's really no waste. Okay. So I'm going to squirt a little bit of chocolate on here. All right, true test here. Okay. This is going to get scarier because we still have to put that egg and the chicken on top. I know. Yeah, when I'm in the factory, yesterday I was working in there prepping for this, and all the people in the factory are coming up behind me, and I'm like, stay away, give me space. So I'm going to squirt out, since I got a little chocolate, some dark chocolate centers for our flowers. Because again, it's going to give it a little bit of contrast. All right, I think we're feeling pretty good. So I want to get this egg on now. This one isn't even the scariest. I've done some really big ones, and those are terrifying. I won't lie. All right, so for this, I'm gonna put white, do I wanna do white chocolate? Yeah, I guess I'll do white chocolate. I don't have a white chocolate bag. Actually, you know what?
Going off the cuff.
I'm just gonna go do something totally crazy. That's pretty sad if that's crazy. But you know.
You take it.
You know what, I have a 9-month-old. This is pretty crazy for my life right now. So, I can't wait till she's old enough to come to the demos and see what I do. She has no idea what's coming. So. All right. So, we're looking good. So now we need to do something super cool. This might blow your mind. It's pretty cool. So we need to make some straw, but before I make some straw, I think I can get away with that. All right, this is going to take a little space. So what I'm going to do next is I want to make some straw to kind of create a nest. So you have to work very quickly when you go ahead and do this portion. So let me just get this chocolate cleared off. If you need to clear chocolate off your counter at home, let it dry, and just scrape it off. Okay, so let me just make sure this piping bag is going to fill with this white. Okay, let's rock and roll. I'm ready. Okay, so I took a sheet pan, a cookie sheet, and it's been in our blast freezer. So, ooh, I really filled this bag. That's all right. In this case, that'll be all right. So what happens when you have your very cold sheet pan is I'm going to pour this or squeeze this chocolate right over on top of my cold sheet tray, and it sets up very, very fast. So be ready for this. Okay. So I'm just going to take this. Oh, it's hard to see because my pan's so light, but you'll see in just a second what's going to happen. You seriously have like a couple minutes to work with this. Okay. All right, so I'm going to take my scraper. My pan's getting a little warm, but I think maybe I can do one more round. So it takes a little while to make the straw because I have to keep running this thing. Well, poor Ashley is having to keep running this thing in the freezer. So we'll see if this works. It might be too warm. So you see it creates kind of this little sort of straw-like texture here. Let's see if this worked. So it's really rubbery. I mean, at this point, it's like super flexible. Once it dries, though, it becomes incredibly brittle, and it's super, super fragile. So if you want to put that back in, and I'll make some more. Even though it still feels really cold, it has to be like super, super cold in order to work. So we're developing some straw for a nest. It's going to take a little while. But I wanted to at least show you how cool that is to see the straw. So she's going to put that back into the blast freezer. So while that's happening, it's funny when I sculpt, it's like, all right, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. Just got to work on a little game plan here. So here's my feet. And we're going to glue him onto the feet. Actually, I think I'm going to use white. The white's nice and thick right now, so I'm going to use that. Plus, he's a white chicken, or she's, I keep saying he. For some reason, I seem to make everything he's. Okay. See if we can get him to sit on there. Ashley, would you hand me the spray? Thank you. He's so cute. I'd still eat him, but he's really cute. Okay, so I'm gonna let that harden up a little bit more. So, I made some flowers. So now you can see you can just pick them up and you've got little chocolate flowers. So, actually, so give it like a little dark chocolate center just to give it contrast. You can also use candy. I've used any circular candies work really good. One time I did jelly beans. That was a really big pain because I actually cut all the jelly beans in half. So you just had these little tiny centers. Took a long time, but it was really super cool looking. So great. So now I'm going to put them onto the sculpture. Oh, my dark.
Oh.
You know what? You can just put dark right on top of it.
You
That's
got
fine. Everything's time constraint with chocolate. That's all right. So I'm going to glue some flowers on. Once I'm done with my demo, I'm still going to like finish it up and everything, but I'll bring you guys my final and have the big reveal. That's my favorite part. Lovely. Thank you, ma'am. Okay. So because I want to make sure I don't over chocolate my flowers on here, I'm going to use the piping bag. So I'm trying to remember what I did. I think I put a flower over here on the other one. Oop. Stay, you silly thing. Okay. Sorry, I gotta just turn it this way 1 second so I can see what I want to do. I don't remember what I did for my other one, so it can be a little different. Oh, that's okay. Oops, didn't put that high enough or low enough. 1 second. That's one thing that's awesome about chocolate sculpting. No one's going to complain that you have too much chocolate on your sculpture. So we got a little extra dark on here, that's fine. Okay, so this one's going to be a little tricky. He's so much bigger than this egg here, so this will be interesting. It worked earlier, but that's part of the fun about doing chocolate sculpture. It's like, is it going to stand up? I hope so. flatten this a little bit. Chocolate is more resilient than you think. I carry sculptures all over the state, so I'll be sitting in the back of our van on a milk crate, just holding them. Like, that's how we transport them. The craziest thing I've ever transported, though, is I did a sculpture for the Dr. Oz show, and I had to cart a sculpture to New York City. And then I had to get it in a cab over to 30 Rock. It was so crazy. I've never done anything like that before. That was quite the experience. All right, I'll use dark chocolate, that's fine. Okay, so I gotta put this in front of me for a second for this part, and then I'll turn them around. Okay. Are you all breathing? All right, we'll see if he stays on there. All right. Yay! So he has a surprise. She has a surprise look because, I mean, that's a lot of eggs. Cool, so that's pretty much, I'm gonna keep working on it. I'm gonna go get my finished one. We'll see if I can carry that up the stairs. I mean, if I can make it through NYC.
You want the other eggs to show them that you're not a big...
Oh, go get the eggs out of the cold room. We'll show you the eggs so you can see that I really made them. Thank you, Ashley. All right, moment of truth. Dun, dun, dun. So, little chocolate eggs. So they actually worked. All right, so are you guys ready for the big reveal? All right, I will go get the sculpture. I didn't write Happy Easter on the other one because writing backwards was really hard. So if you decide you want to write a message, you have to remember to put your letters like you were looking in a mirror. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I'm now going to just hang out here and finish up on this one, and I'm also going to make some truffle bunnies that we're selling right now. So that's another thing I'm using the petals for, is for bunny ears. So they make great bunny ears, they make great feathers, and great petals for flowers. So they serve a lot of different purposes. So thank you guys so much for hanging out today.